Okay, today we're going to be covering a student information import. If you have a lot of students, rather than typing them in or having them enter themselves, you can just import those from a comma delimited file or a variety of file types. What you need to do first is open your AccuTrack and log in as an administrator and go to the menu here. Over on the left, if you're in version 9 or above, you'll have a compact or expanded view. Go to expanded view and then click on database. So the little plus next to database will expand it out. And then click on import. Once you click on import, it's going to bring up a screen. And what we're going to do is choose our import type. So if you click on the little drop down, we're going to choose student information. Now in some of the earlier versions it might say something a little different, but it's normally the top one, and it's the one that implies student information or student upload. So choose that one. And notice, before I go forward here, that I have a student information, activities, and a student registration that are also available in a combined import down here. But if this is the first import you're doing, you want to do these three separate at the beginning of the semester, just because you get some extra options that pop up. Like if I do this combined import, see no options pop up down here at the bottom. But if I do the student information, I have the option to update student data or inactivate student data that's already in the database. So if you need those options, do them as three separate imports. Or if you have a very large database, if you have 50,000 students and they're all taking 4 classes, well, that's 200,000 students that you're going to have to, not students, 200,000 registrations if you upload registration. And so it would be easier to do as 3 separate imports because it would break it down into a smaller file size. But you can try it either way. Okay, first I'm going to do student information. And my options pop up: update student data from import file if the student already exists. So if they're already in the database and they're in the import file, if I click this on, it's going to replace what's in the database with what's in the import file. If I click this off, it's going to say, oh, they're already in the database. I'm not going to replace that. It's just going to ignore what's in the import file and go to the next record. Okay. The second one, inactivate students that are not in the import file. If you click this on, when you upload your import, anybody that's already in the database is going to be inactivated. They will not be erased. They'll still stay in there. It's just that they won't be able to sign in. They'll be inactive. And you'll have to activate them one at a time if you decide, whoops, I shouldn't have activated them. So if you're not sure about this, don't inactivate them. But if you are sure, you can inactivate the students that are not in there. Now, once I've chosen what type of import I'm going to do, I'm going to browse and find my file. To do that, I'm going to click on the little browse button over here, the one gray button with the 3 dots. So just click on that, and then you want to go out and find wherever you've stored your file. Mine happens to be on the desktop, so I'm going to go to the desktop. And mine's a comma delimited file, so notice it's not showing up. This is common with comma delimited files for some reason. If your file's not showing up, just go down here to the bottom where it says Files a Type and change it to say All Files, and then the files that are there will show up. Okay. This student data is the one I want to import, so I'm going to say OK. And before I go forward, maybe I should show you that I have an empty database here, so let me hit cancel real quick and just show you. If I go under setup, students, see I have an empty database, nothing in there. So I'm going to run back down and just run through this again, database, and I'm going to do import. And then I'm going to do student information. I'm going to browse and find my file. Now in my case, I really don't want to update student data because there's nothing in there to update anyway, so I'm going to ignore these 2 options. And then I'm going to go forward. If you're not sure about these 2 options, call us if you're not sure what you're doing there, you need a little help. Okay, so I'm going to go forward here. And then it's going to show me my file that I have. Down here in the bottom is the file I'm trying to import. This actually looks good because I have a line between each piece of data. That's what you're looking for. If yours looks like something like this, it's not good. Okay, so what you want to do is click around and try to get it right. If you can't get it right, then something's wrong with the file. It's got to be fixed before it can be imported. Okay, so once you have it with a line between each piece of data here, Then you can go forward by clicking the next button down at the bottom of the screen. And it's going to take me to a screen which is my mapping screen. Now it remembered the mappings from the last time I did an import before, so I'm going to clear this because I've already emptied the database out and I'm starting clean, and I don't know if it matches. So I just hit clear mappings. It'll take any old ones away if you're not sure. And now I'm going to tell AccuTrack what data to put into what fields in AccuTrack. So I'm just going to say take column 1 and put it into user ID. So I'm just going to put my cursor over the word column 1, hold down the mouse button and drag it up there and let it go next to user ID. If you accidentally map something in the wrong place, like say user ID into cell phone here, all you have to do is highlight it and hit delete or backspace on your keyboard, and that'll get it out of there. Okay, but column 1 is going into user ID, 2 is first name, then I have middle name, and basically you're doing nothing more here than just saying put this data into this field. Okay, notice my phone number column has no dashes or brackets. That's important because it will not import right if you have dashes and brackets in the import file. Okay, add email address here, address, got a couple more here to do. City, state, zip. Now notice I have more fields down here. If I use my little down arrow on the right side of the screen, there's a lot more fields I can import into. Now anything I don't map, AccuTrack will just ignore, so I don't have to fill all the fields up if I don't want to. The only required fields are the ones that are in yellow. But if you do have other information, anything below card ID here, all of these fields, optional date, gender, etc., they're programmable fields, so you can change the name of them. Also, they will import any kind of data, so you can ignore this field type, integer, and character, because it's not really, that's something for Fox Pro. It's for the older version. The import we're doing, by the way, will work for both the Fox Pro and the SQL version. It will work exactly the same. Okay, so once you've defined your fields, you can go ahead and import into them, by the way, before you define them. You can go back and change the names of these fields. Anything below optional date, you can change later. Those are your profile questions. So once I've mapped everything I'm going to map, I'm going to go next. But if you happen to have some blank lines here in your sheet on the bottom, don't worry about it. If you don't map them, AccuTrack will ignore them. Okay, so I'm going to go forward. And it's going to tell me if it's good or bad. Green means record is okay, everything's good. Yellow means required fields are missing, so I have a yellow here. And you can kind of flip down through your data and see if you have any missing data, anything in red or pink. Pink is an alert. It means maybe somebody has the same name but different IDs. It's just going to alert you, but it will import them if their IDs are different, because the student ID is the unique identifier. Okay, if they're red, it will not. It will only import one. Okay, depending on what option you selected at the beginning. If you selected the replace option, it will do that. Okay, so I'm going to say finish. It all looks good. It's going to tell me it might take a few minutes. If you're going across the network, like you're on one machine, you're trying to import this data across the network, it's going to take a lot longer than what it's taking right now. Okay, depending on your network speed. If you have large amounts of data, 100,000 or 300,000 records or whatever you're trying to import, you might want to go to the server and do that upload, because otherwise it's just going to take forever. Alright, so here we are. It shows my results of my import. 548 did not import because the ID was shorter than allowed, and they go to the top here and it shows me what they are. My header row did not import because the required field was missing, and that's this one right here. It doesn't have a user ID. It's fine, I really didn't want it to import, but if you go down here, I could go back and pad these IDs with zeros, or I could make my AccuTrack accept a variable length ID. I currently have mine set for a 9-digit ID, but it will take 4 to 20 characters, so it can be changed around. But once I have done my import, I can go back and import these again later. The did not import if I need them in there. I really don't. So right now I have 4,500 that imported successfully, and we'll go look at those in a minute. But as you see over here on the left bottom, I have a button, Schedule as Automated Import. I'm going to click on that, and then as you see, I have a schedule that pops up here. I can actually automate this import. I can tell AccuTrack to go look on the hard drive for this file and grab it. And I can say, grab it every day of the week or of the month and every month of the year between 3 and 4 a.m. and maybe 5 and 6 p.m. I want AccuTrack to go out, look for the file, and do an import automatically. If I set that on, AccuTrack will look for a file. It will expect it to be named exactly the same thing. It will expect it to be in the same place and to be laid out the same. So you can have your student information system just spit the file out there every day, and AccuTrack will grab it and import it every day, or twice a day, or however often you do. So once I say, okay, that is imported, I'm going to go back up to the top of the screen to my student database. And as you can see, my data is now in there. So all of my students are now in there, or at least 4,500 of them are. If I want those other 500 in there, then I'm going to have to go change my ID format or pad it with zeros. One or the other. And pretty much that's it. That's how you get the student data in. Thank you for your time.